Today, we're going to dive into a story, a really big story, about time, patience, and transformation. And it's told from a perspective you probably haven't considered before.
It's a simple truth, isn't it? I mean, we live in a world that's just obsessed with speed, with right now. And because of that, we so often overlook the sheer power of slow, deliberate growth. While my story is probably the greatest testament to that very idea.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a seed. And my journey, well, it's a story you've probably seen a million times, but maybe never really heard. You see, it doesn't start with some loud bang or a dramatic event. It all begins with a quiet release, just a single moment of complete and total surrender. My life really unfolds in these 4 acts. We'll go through each one: the leap, the wait, the struggle, and the ascent.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. That first moment, the moment I had to let go. Imagine, after spending your entire existence attached, safe, suddenly you're released, just like that, into a world of pure, unpredictable chance.
You know, it's a strange feeling. On one hand, it was a moment of complete powerlessness. I mean, I'm just being carried by the wind, totally at the mercy of forces I can't even comprehend. But on the other hand, it was this incredible exercise in trust. Just trust that this whole journey, this chaos, would somehow lead me exactly where I needed to be. So, after all that tumbling and traveling, I finally landed. I found my place in the soil. And that's when the next stage began, a time of deep, deep stillness. Now, to the outside world, it must have looked like absolutely nothing was happening. But that quiet, that stillness, it was everything. Buried there in the dark and the silence, I wasn't just sleeping. Not at all. I was listening. I was calibrating. I was waiting for that perfect signal, the exact right amount of moisture, the perfect temperature, the faintest hint of light. So you see, it wasn't an empty time. It was this period of huge unseen preparation. I was gathering all the quiet strength I knew I was going to need. It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Could you think of a time in your own life when you felt stuck, dormant, only to look back later and realize you were actually getting ready for your own spring? And then, when everything was finally perfectly right, my transformation began. But listen, this wasn't some gentle, poetic unfolding. No, this was a fight, a beautiful, kind of violent struggle for life itself. It really came down to 3 huge pushes. First, I had to literally shatter the shell that had kept me safe for so long. Then, I had to force a root down, anchoring myself into that hard, unyielding earth. And finally, with almost every bit of energy I had left, I had to push a tiny sprout upwards, just searching, blindly, for the sun. It was just an exhausting push toward a totally new reality. And it taught me something fundamental. It taught me that real, true growth, it demands a forceful break from your past. It requires this sheer, desperate determination to reach for something new. But you know what? Reaching the light, that wasn't the end of my story. Oh no, that was just the beginning of the longest chapter yet. My real ascent, my true growth, wasn't going to be measured in days anymore. We're talking decades, even centuries. Just slow, methodical growth. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that time scale. For my first days, I was nothing more than a fragile sapling reaching for any light I could find. For decades, I was a young tree, learning how to endure storms, droughts, all kinds of hardship. And then, over centuries, I became what you see now, a pillar, a landmark, a living connection between the earth and the sky. And this is the secret, really. The secret to my strength. The winds that tried to break me, they only made my trunk stronger. The droughts that parched the earth, they just forced my roots to dig even deeper for water. Every single challenge was a lesson in resilience. Each one added another ring to my very core. And so, here we are. My journey comes full circle. After becoming a shelter, a landmark, the very heart of an ecosystem, my final purpose finally reveals itself. And the funny thing is, the true meaning of my whole epic story, it isn't about what I became, it's about what I could give. So what is that final act? It's releasing thousands of new seeds out into the world, thousands of new beginnings. And inside every single one is the exact same epic story you've just heard. A story of potential, of patience, of persistence. And just like that, the cycle begins all over again. So I'll just leave you with this thought. My story, it's unfolding all around you all the time. It's a quiet reminder that our own transformations, they need that same surrender, that same patient waiting, and that same intense struggle. You know, just like me, every single one of us holds a blueprint for something magnificent inside. The only real question is, are you willing to give it the time it truly needs to grow?